Oh, we're live now. See, that's why I want you here. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 10th episode of the, what's the name of my show? Live from the Winslow Mansion. I've already forgot the name of my show. At any rate, well, we only got 6 or 7 viewers, so it doesn't really matter if I show screw up. At any rate, wonderful news. We have a sponsor, but I'm not collecting the money. We have Jim Swanson. I've known him for many years. We had Eric Thole on the other night. We all grew up in the Fair Meadows area. Here he is. He's a realtor. He has hunting land for sale, residential land, farmland. I'm personally not going to collect the money. He's giving it to some of the local food shelves. St. Croix Valley food shelf is, and I believe the Catholic Church also has it. So it's going to go to a good cause. Like I said, I'm not collecting the money, but I think the more the video gets shared, the more viewers I have, whatever, instead of the 6 or 7 every night. That's better for us and the local people. So share it with your friends if they can stand watching me for at least a few minutes. So I have to live with myself, you guys. You can turn me off if you want. So at any rate, now we're all excited about the stimulus package, right? I received my stimulus package, but it was a sample of a Cialis. The problem is, in my age, I'm more interested in a good meal than a night of amore. You know, but seriously, but of course, you get fatter and fatter, and we're supposed to ward off the quarantine 15 and not getting fatter. But the last time I went in for a physical and I talked about my physician's assistant, her name is Margaret Houlihan, I'm not making that up. She says, well, you do have the body of a 20-year-old, and I really felt good about this. The trouble is, you've seen the average 20-year-old now, but kind of chunky. Yeah, so that was immediately deflated. So, at any rate, there was the wrong kind of stimulus package. I'm waiting for mine. I hope you all got it, and so we're all still fighting that quarantine 15. And a lot of you guys can watch the local people, Sarah Jesperson, Sarah Muslimi, and others. They have their videos, and of course keep going to the local restaurants. Get your order online, go pick up the food. And I don't think I'm speaking out of line when Leo's, I saw that they are willing to feed people. I saw a post on Facebook that if you're having troubles, they'll help you out a little bit with some food. So I thought that was really great. But just let's support our local people here. And so I'm going to quickly just go through I don't have a list of songs to go through. Our co-host might be a little late. He has other things to do, but we love him. Hopefully he'll show up. But we're going to go through the top 5 movies that did not win Best Picture of the Year. We've all been watching a lot of Netflix. I have not watched that Crazy Tiger show. Have you guys watched that at all? I can't get myself to watch that.
Me neither.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. There's my favorite show is like the Andy Griffith show. It's like going from Andy Griffith to this Crazy Tiger show. I can't do it. Okay, so number 5. Now these are movies that maybe should not have won the top film. And I'm going to mention the film that probably should have won it. So, number 5, 1990, Dances with Wolves. It was okay. The film I think that should have won it in 1990, Goodfellas. A lot better. Now, number 4, 1990. Very controversial. Kevin Spacey was in it. American Beauty. Remember that scene where he's filming that plastic bag filming for like, or he's filming it's like in the wind and it's super cool. Yeah, that's good cinema. Kevin Spacey. So it won Film of the Year. I think The Sixth Sense should have won that.
That's my favorite show.
And I knew that. I knew that. That's what yours, right?
I took my daughter to that when she
There
was
you
little.
go. So, number 3, 1997. It was okay. Titanic. It was okay. It was good. A lot of science involved. It was okay. The film that should have won, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams was in it. Now, number 2, 1996, The English Patient. In fact, the show Seinfeld kind of picked on it. Remember Elaine? She picked on that film quite a bit. Spain from Minnesota. Either you hate it or you love it. I love it. Remember they filmed it around here, the infamous wood chipper scene up on Square Lake. Fargo. The famous chit-chat scene where the police officer goes and that guy is shoveling his driveway or whatever. That's one of my favorite films. Fargo. I love it because we don't have an accent here in Minnesota.
No.
No. Now, number 1, 1979. Kramer versus Kramer. Film of the Year. It lost out to, I did this on purpose, Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now. Saigon, we're still getting drawn into Apocalypse Now. Yeah. Get it? Okay, whatever. And there was other films we could have talked about. Citizen Kane didn't win. The Wizard of Oz and Vertigo. That was another one. And so there you go. That's now we have an exciting show here tonight, and I sure as heck appreciate him coming here in Europe. I was excited that our next guest is coming, and you all know and love him. Mr. Bob Beedle, want to come on over? Thank you. I don't know if I can shake your hand or not. I don't know if the social, because if I get too close to people, I get the hate mail. Literally,
you should.
Well, yeah, I know, and I get all sorts, but I do have masks
We
for
can do
guests.
this.
Oh, I know we can, yeah. Well, actually, then you're the head base softball coach, and I just thought about that. They can't shake their hands. And normally, I guess they can't, but I want to say we share the same birthday.
We do.
May 30th. Yes, we do.
That's traditional Memorial Day.
Yes,
You know
it
that.
is. Yes, I do. But I wanted the first thing you brought your lovely girlfriend Diana, and this is actually my favorite story involving you two, and I probably told you this story. And I drive the trolley, but maybe once a year you two take the tour. And this might have been last year or the year before. You took it, and you guys are great. You're awesome.
Thank you.
And you go, oh yeah, great to see you guys. It's always great to see you. And the next week, I think, maybe even 2 weeks later, the rule I have is on the trolley, you can't answer questions until the tour's over and I get off the trolley. Okay, so I get off the trolley a couple weeks later. A woman goes, you might remember this. A woman goes to me, well, which houses are haunted? You remember this? And I go, well, you should have been here 2 weeks ago because my friend Diana, you remember this? She's like a ghost hunter, or a medium, and she knows all about the houses and so on and so on and so forth. And no sooner had I said your name, maybe I said it 3 times like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Remember? You two come walking down the sidewalk. Do you remember this? have said your name 3 times. You remember that?
Showed up.
Well, what
You
are
showed up.
up?
You guys remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was,
Yes.
I just thought
That's
that was
hilarious.
awesome. So,
For the next 15 minutes, we answered questions about Stillwater housing.
yes, I got to walk away. I got to answer questions.
You did that on purpose.
Well, of course.
Nice setup.
Yeah. And I do get to point you out sometimes during the tour.
Yeah.
And you're right there. And I was proud to say there's Bob Beedle, the legendary softball coach. And
Nice.
I was so impressed. Number one, because a lot of people come from communities where people don't know their fellow community members,
Right.
like people from out east or something.
Mhm.
And so, well, you know people from your town. Well, and the first time this actually happened, it's like, well, don't you know people in your town? It was really a shock to me. So,
Stillwater, very close-knit area. A lot of people with deep roots here.
sure. Yeah, I know. And so I'm a proud member of the community myself. But that's, I just wanted to mention those 2 things. They're kind of trivial, but I sometimes I still mention those things. I think I've told you this story a couple of times.
Great.
So, not much to do with softball, but I think it's kind of a fun anecdote. So there you go. So, now, Coach, the season obviously has been affected by the virus. And I just saw today where Wisconsin has already canceled their season. How do you think our season here in Minnesota?
Well, as the days pass, it gets a little more bleak
Mhm.
as each day passes or each week passes. We did have our first week of practice was spring break this year, so we did have a week of practice
really?
before
Okay.
they cut us off. So now some of the things that are being tossed about are a delay in the season. Of course, we were already supposed to have started, so it is delayed. But there is a possibility that if they were to continue the season, it would be the first or second week in May. We would play for softball. We would play 3 doubleheaders a week. The section tournament would be moved back a week along with the state tournament. That causes some potential problems with facilities. You have the whole Caswell complex already reserved for that given
Sure.
2 days. You'd have to move it off there and try to find availability. Umpires are in question.
Sure.
Those kinds of things. So that it's not just the virus. There's other things that would all have to fall in place. And the shorter period of time that we have between now and end of the school year, the more bleak that kind of looks.
And now when you say double header, are you saying a full-on 7-inning
Yes.
game? Okay, so not like 2 5 innings, but
Well,
a
they
little
could do, that's an
full-on.
option. They haven't spoken about that, but it would be an option to go to 5-inning games, 5-inning doubleheaders.
And- Okay. Now, does the Minnesota State High School League allow you to be in?
They would have to make a concession in
Okay.
order to do that, but back 2018, when we had the heavy snowfalls in April, the high school league allowed play inside of domes. They allowed 5-inning doubleheaders that year too.
Okay.
So they will try to adapt as needed. They prefer 7-inning games.
And can you be in contact with your players right now?
Can't coach them. I can
Okay.
I can communicate with through media, through email, texting, that sort of thing. I can recommend workout options, give them things that they can be doing, make suggestions, but I cannot have organized practices.
And that's where maybe your captains are maybe doing
They
some of the
can
heavy
do that,
lifting.
but again, they have to exercise proper distances.
Oh, sure,
so,
sure. Mhm.
You could get together with someone if you did it the right way, I suppose, but even then, you'd have to put hand sanitizer
Sure.
on the balls, you'd
Sure.
have to clean hands or wear gloves.
And that's all new to
That's absolutely.
everyone, sure.
But
sure.
they can, they can hit off the tee,
Mhm.
they can throw rubber balls off the garage doors like we used to
Mhm,
do.
yeah,
They can
sure.
hit wiffle ball, play home run derby in the backyard. There are ways to stay active. Hopefully, they have a parent that can play catch with them, for 10 or 15 minutes every day. Keep it around.
And fortunately, we're all in the same boat. Every
Everyone's in the
team
same
in
boat.
Minnesota is in the same boat. So
Right, just the
yeah.
distance schooling, with everything online, being kind of lodged inside your own, housing, that's different for everyone. So you have
Yeah.
the whole family at home all day, there's a lot of issues that have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Adaptations, right?
Yeah, and then, I was wondering about, and you had mentioned earlier, only one of our players, the player
Yeah.
is a senior, and so
For this year, we have one senior, Haley, Eder Zedlick.
Mhm.
She's been on the varsity since ninth grade.
Ninth grade, yeah,
But
good athlete, good
Terrific
family.
player, she's a great hockey
Mhm.
player as well. She's already committed to go to Hamlin, play hockey there, and possibly some softball there.
Okay.
But for her, Haley's been fortunate enough to play in the state championship team and the state runner-up team in
Mhm.
the state. She's had great softball experiences. I know she wanted to finish out her senior year. But if you look around the state, there's a lot of seniors in a lot of different sports
Yeah.
that are being impacted by prom and
Mhm.
graduation ceremonies and
But not just softball.
Not
it's-
just
yeah.
softball, it's impacting their whole lives.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And then,
so.
it's not to really discount the underclassmen because they've been working real hard. Some of them just to crack that starting lineup. This is gonna be maybe their first year and they work around the clock on it throughout the whole year, not just the softball season, getting prepared to try to bust into that lineup. So it impacts them all.
Oh yeah, and then there's always some crazy situation where a player, maybe a senior, might have just worked out hard, and maybe this was their year that any sport they might have ended up getting a scholarship. Not to do a we don't know now, but it's a we don't know. They might have gotten a
there's a lot of
scholarship.
kids who have breakout seasons,
Mhm.
both as juniors and
Mhm.
seniors, where they get comfortable and their game sort of picks up and
Yeah,
then they get noticed.
yeah, and so those are the ones we don't know if they were a senior. I was wondering, and
Well, if you're looking at if you're a college coach and a college, their whole group that runs their
Mhm.
program, now what do? They lose.
Yeah.
They lose a lot of opportunity to evaluate.
Yeah, but I guess like you coach, you coach not necessarily all year round, but I know you go summer,
Yeah,
maybe.
well, our Stillwater Association, our 14 and under, 12 and under, and 10 and under work all winter long inside
Mhm.
with the varsity staff. We can still coach them as long as they haven't played at the B squad or above. So
Okay.
so we have our varsity staff on Sundays, spend every Sunday from about mid-December all the way through February, working with these younger groups.
And who are the other people that we might know?
Well, you have Angie Duran,
Mhm.
Amy Hoffman has been a longtime assistant, Mike Meyer, and maybe in the fall a little bit, then Mike heads to Arizona for the winter.
Okay.
But, Joe McQuillan, our head
Oh,
ninth
sure,
grade
mhm.
coach is there, and we bring in some alumni. This year we had Carly Hart come in, and then several of our varsity players will go down and demonstrate and work with the 10U kids and stuff.
Okay.
That's a big deal for the little kids. And so
In-
yeah,
in the summer,
it's a program-wide deal in the off season, and then the summertime now we have only through the 14 and under level of play, and so we have coaches in our softball association that coach there.
And sometimes Sean Hall watches. Do you ever work with him?
I work
At
with
all?
Sean now. I joined Sean's club organization a year ago, and it's called the Midwest Speed.
Okay.
And Sean owns and operates that, and also coaches that.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean and I co-coach the 18 and under Midwest Speed.
Okay,
So
and-
in that we work. We start after high school is over, and we go all the way through the winter, and all the way up until we through. I think it's the end of January, first week or two in February inside training club teams.
And he's one of our rivals up in
He's at Forest Lake.
Forest Lake, a beautiful community here
Yes,
in
it is. Well,
Washington.
Angie
County.
Ryan
Angie Ryan
came
yeah.
from Forest
Mhm.
Lake, so we were lucky enough to get her on our staff.
Mhm.
Terrific player when she played, and great. I think she went to 6 or 7 state tournaments at Forest Lake.
Okay, yeah, she's a teacher now at the high school. That's right.
She's
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah, I worked with her a little bit. She's a great person. So, and now, Coach? How did you get into coaching, and who were maybe some of your mentors over the years?
Well, for me, if you're a player, and I was in high school, I played baseball, of course, and then post high school, I did a lot with slow pitch as well as a little bit of fast pitch, but that was just touching my foot in there here and there, mostly with slow pitch, played all over the country, played on state championship teams, went to a lot of national tournaments playing slow pitch. But then along came a couple of little girls, and as they began to grow up, I was very much involved with their teams, all the way from T-ball on up. And my oldest daughter turned 11 years old. Stillwater did not have a 12U fast pitch program, so I said, well, we're going to have one now. And so we started that. I had her pitching in the basement, and got her ready to go as an 11-year-old. We were fortunate enough to get out in the Tri-County League, make it to the state tournament, and then got beat in the state tournament. And I hung around the rest of the day and followed the top 2 or 3 programs in the state and said, I want to see what this looks like, what we have to do. And then over the following winter, we went back to work, myself and a few of the dads, and really worked hard with our kids. Came out in our second year of the 12 and under program, we won the state championship.
Oh, nice.
So we figured it out, and from that point on, Stillwater's lower level started to be strong. Sort of kind of set the bar there. And then when my youngest daughter turned, I think she was 9, she had been pitching in my basement for a couple, 3 years, just down there, had to be kind of following her older sister a little bit. And Stillwater did not have a 10 and under team at that time, so I said, well, they do now. So we went on. Of course, at 10 and under, if you have someone who can throw strikes, you're going to be in contention.
Yeah, sure.
So she could throw strikes, and in our first year of the 10 and under program, I think there was only 35 or 40 teams in the state, but we won the state championship. So
Oh, congratulations, nice.
it's fun stuff. And then I progressively coached them in the summers all the way through up, and then after, I don't know, 8-10 years, they were gone out of the program, and I got a call from a White Bear Lake parent who said, or asked, Bob, would you consider putting your name in for the White Bear head varsity coach? And I said, never thought about it. But eventually on the last day I did apply, and I got that job. So my first varsity coaching job was at White Bear Lake, and I stayed there for 5 years.
5 years, okay. And then how long have you been coaching here in Stillwater?
This would be my 15th year at Stillwater, so total this would be my 20th year as a varsity.
Okay, we're lucky to have you here, I think, so.
Sometimes I think so.
No, I think we're lucky to have you. I think as a alumnus myself and a fan, I think we can say it, so.
We feel we have a strong program. It's been a lot of fun to be involved with, and it isn't just one person's program. We have a ton of extremely dedicated parents and board members, and some parents that have stayed around long after their child has graduated.
Oh, I can say that people that are watching, if you have not watched women's softball, you're really missing a treat. I mean, you can watch it on TV, but if you're there in person, the sights and the sounds, and it's really,
always exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting.
And our conference is terrific.
Yes.
It's been probably the last 3 years the strongest conference in the state. We've had at least 3 teams out of our conference because we go off into different sections. We've had 3 out of the 8 teams have come from our conference in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and then we were going to talk a little bit about, I like to call, I guess, the Do You Believe in Miracles season of 2018.
Yes.
It is an incredible Cinderella story, not cliche, I guess, but 2 years ago.
It's so much fun to kind of look back at that, and I had a chance to kind of have a yearbook that I opened up and looked at some of the things that were accomplished during that season, and hurdles that were jumped. We ended up finishing 16-13, our overall record, which is we have the dubious distinction to have the most losses of any large school team in being a state champion in softball. So the story behind that, how that all unfolded, that was the year we had a great snowfall. We didn't really play our first game until April 26th. Then we played 19 straight days, not counting Sundays, but including Saturdays, 19 straight days of softball before we ended our season and started to prepare for section play. I think we had 2 outdoor practices before section play. And then, of course, we went out in our first game in the sections and lost. But prior to the sections, I wrote down a couple of things. We were 7-12 in our regular season. We won just 2 of our last 12 regular season games.
Wow.
So we go into the sections for 7 wins, 12 losses, and lose the first game and get dropped down into the losers bracket. That meant we had to win 6 straight games, including 2 times we had to win 2 games in one night, including the last night where we won the championship over North St. Paul. At that time, I think had 1 or 2 losses on the season.
Wow.
So pretty.
That's very impressive. Very, very impressive. Yeah.
So we come out of the section, then we're 13-13. Go into the state tournament, and we play the number 2 seed rated team. We were unseeded, of course, with a 13-13 record. We go to the state tournament. We draw the number 2 seed, which is Forest Lake. Out of our conference, they beat us twice already in the season, although one of them was like a 2-1 game, and the other one was extra innings where we lost. So we knew we could play with that team, and we felt like coming out of the sections that we were playing really good softball. I'll tell you what we did in the sections. After losing that first game in the section, we rattled off 6 wins. We avenged our opening loss to Creighton with a 15-hit game. Then put a 17-hit attack on Woodbury on the same night. So we beat Creighton and Woodbury on the same night. In championship games, we had a 10-hit win against North and a 15-hit against them in the championship game. So just really started to come together.
Do you think you could play a little more relaxed, though? Do you think because of that record? That's kind of...
Well, I think that what we had to convince the kids that we were as good as any team in the section, or better than any team in the section, if we played up to our abilities. And we thought we really had them ready and in the right frame of mind. And boy, they believed in themselves, and we had them, I thought, ready to go for sections. And we went out and lost to Creighton. So, what you think is there isn't always there. And that was a matter of coming back. We didn't even really practice pre-game that next night. We just sat down and talked about where we were. We did talk about that we had an opportunity to do something historical, and we had to do them one at a time. I said, do you think we can beat Tartan? And they said, yeah, we can beat Tartan. I said, well, that's all we have to worry about. And that's sort of how we approached
That's
the
great.
run through the sections.
That's great.
It's fun stuff.
Oh, it's great. I think a lot. Because I coach at the middle school over here, and it was fun going to the games when I had a chance. And I know I went down to Mankato.
Yes,
and,
you were down there.
Yeah, it was great. Because it's just so much fun to.
Well, all classes are down there. It's not just the.
Oh no, I know.
4A, it's 3A, 2A, single A, and they're all. The fans, the bleachers are full, and everybody's, the adrenaline's flying, and a lot of fun.
See a lot of people, so it's a lot of fun. And and I was going to tell you, I had this anecdote about I had coached out at Oakland, Coach Nelson, Scott Nelson. I worked with him for a while. How I got into coaching, they needed someone to help out, and I said, I'll help out. So, but for many years I was under Scott Nelson. I hope he's watching, and I hope this is working. Number 1, I hope it's working.
Talking into
the
kid. Hey,
I know, not just in the air. I always hope every show is working. And so eventually I ended up just being the person. But the way the backstop, those double backstops, were right next to the baseball, and of course 8th grade. Boys next to the girls. 8th grade girls have no interest in 8th grade boys. And then there I was kind of heckling the girls a little bit. But now near the end, and I had for a while, I think 2 seasons in a row undefeated, but really good pitching. And for 2 seasons in a row, I said to the boys, and Kevin Clancher was the coach, and he agreed to it both years. He's a great guy.
Come on over and see if you can.
Well, yes, and so we put a defense out there with our pitchers, and and of course, with softball, the 43 feet, and of course I had good pitchers and catchers, and every year I always have to teach a lot of the girls to get rid of that baseball swing and teach them the softball swing, and that ball would go right by those
long swing
boys. It was just strike 1, 2, 3. It's just
one up,
1, 2, 3 outs, 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, they would all walk away, and that was it. That was it. We never had trouble with the boys. They never said anything anymore.
I
We'd
give
go
you an
about our
extension, I can
business.
put some numbers to that, Miles, as they get older, now I get a chance to, with the club team, travel around the country. I've been to Myrtle Beach, I've been to Atlanta, I've been to Chicago, California, Huntington Beach, Colorado, and we're playing against elite 18 and under pitching. So a lot of these pitchers have D1 scholarships from UCLA, Southern Cal, Arizona. I mean, they're big time pitchers, right? They're throwing the ball, most of those kind of pitchers are throwing it between 65 and 70 miles an hour.
No, it's really
And
good.
you're throwing the ball 70 miles an hour from 43 feet.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent if you were throwing a baseball from their distance
Yeah.
of about 105 miles an hour.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then, of course, you have less reaction time because you're closer.
Yeah.
And really, genetically, at some point, it gets to be genetically, there's only a very small percentage of people that can hit a ball going 70
Yeah.
miles an hour from 43 feet. And it is amazing how hard. And then, of course, it's not just going straight. It's going up, it's going down.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
then every once in a while, instead of going 70, they'll make it go 50. And we're
Yeah.
way up and spinning like a top, right? So.
Yeah. And some of those girls that haven't played much, no, here comes the change up, and they never don't know what is the whatever, that.
They'll be able to throw
And
them,
I don't
they'll
have
be able to
your
hit.
experience and
Yeah.
so, but but it's fun and
A lot of fun.
Yeah. So.
Let me finish the story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to brag a little
Yeah,
bit
I
about
know
that.
you do.
Well,
Brag
that's what
away.
I wanna
Brag away. That's
for
why I'm
everybody-
here to brag a
If
lot.
anybody didn't witness that, it was pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Our team batting average during the season was 248.
Wow.
248, okay? But in that section year, 2018, we lifted our average to 365, which was 117 points higher
Wow.
than the regular season. We hit 12 home runs just in the section play. And I think that's a record number of home runs. I know it is for our section, and it may be for all sections. I didn't check on that. We hit 21 home runs in the season, 12 just in the sections. The 21 home runs for the season was a Stillwater record, team record. Our team had 3 players with 25 RBIs each, 75 total, and that's the largest 3-player RBI total in the history of Stillwater softball. Amazing stuff happening in that section. Then we went to the state tournament, and we kept hitting. We beat the number 2 seed Forest Lake with 12 hits. We beat Buffalo, who was the 3 seed, with 14 hits, and then the number 1 Park team with 9 hits in the championship game. So we beat the number 2 seed, the number 3 seed, and the number 1 seed on our way to that championship run. So we didn't sneak through the back door. We were unseeded. We beat the top 3 teams, and we came out of the losers bracket of the section. So I don't think you'll see that kind of a story unfold. I don't think you'll ever see it in our sport again, and I doubt that you'll see it in most other sports. It's just a really incredible accomplishment.
And you guys beat Park fairly handedly.
Well, we beat them 5-1, but they had the bases loaded with their power hitter on that last inning.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have seemed like a cakewalk, 4 runs, 1 string of the bat, that game's tied.
Yeah.
But they were a terrific team, as were the other 2 teams. It was just our tournament, our story, and just a great fun to be a part of. As we went through that season and that run, in the regular season, we were 1 win and 9 losses against Cretin. We were 0-2. Against Mounds View, we were 0-2, 1-1 against Cretin. 0-2 against Woodbury, 0-2 against Park, 0-2 against Forest Lake. That's 1-9 during the regular season. When we ran all the way to the state tournament, we met each one of those teams again, and we beat all of them.
That's great.
So 1-9, we turned those 9 losses, and got wins over every one of those teams.
That's great. Now, do you have, what are your plans for the future? How much longer do you think you plan on coaching?
That's a great question, and I've been going year by year for probably the last, 3 or 4 years. I've been saying, if it's still fun, if it's still productive, if it's still a smart use of my time. As you get older, Miles, time becomes extremely valuable.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it's 1 year at a time. I'm not ready to make a great announcement on your program.
Okay.
But maybe
I'm just making up stuff as I go along.
Maybe when the day comes, I'll come on your program and make the
I
announcement.
appreciate it. I'm just making up stuff. So.
But I've talked to a lot of coaches that have gotten out of the game as they, this is gonna be my 20th season.
I think Bruegger's Bagels is where those other coaches.
Right,
Yes.
go down there and ask how many of them would still like to probably coach at some level.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
I think most would say they'd like to go as long as they could
Okay.
and still feel like they were.
And I think a bunch of them were walking the track over here this morning, I swear.
They were?
Well, they're all wearing coaches, I swear. It was a bunch of them, like 4 of them. I could be wrong, but when I was walking.
It's a good place to be.
Well, I know. So I didn't go over there because I was walking to my parents this morning, but.
You tell me, what do you think of the middle school programs now? When we switch from 6, 7, 8 to from 7, 8, 9?
I think it's good for a lot of kids that might not necessarily go on to your level. We don't get a lot of the travelers, so I think it's good.
Well, what we've done,
yeah.
softball at the high school level has become a 7 through 12 program. That's a big change.
Yeah.
And so that allows us to move. Number one, we get 7th graders are allowed to play softball someplace. That for a long time they couldn't play in school. We'd lose kids to track and other sports because we just didn't have 7th grade softball. And then those programs were very recreational, so our traveling kids didn't feel like they were getting that much out of it. And so when we went to 7 through 12, we now take a lot of our traveling 7th, 8th, and 9th graders play in our school team, but they start out at the 9th grade level.
Yeah.
And then your middle school kids, 6, 7, 8, will play middle school softball, which is much more of a recreational experience.
Yeah,
It's kind of flipped that
Yeah.
way. So if they're really competitive and thinking about, softball in the future, they move immediately as a 7th grader. They're playing a 9th grade schedule. And a lot of our 9th grade players then are up playing B squad.
And I think that would be because sometimes we get a lot of good athletes, but they haven't played much softball, and and I get kids who have never played and can't necessarily.
Well, I think there's a lot of families in the St. Croix Valley that start out with the Valley Athletic Association, and that's a recreational kind of, everybody plays, and it's kind of communal, and so they move into that and get comfortable there, but the families who really want to stretch their kids and get them to play at a higher level, move them into the Stillwater Fast Pitch Association, where they get more year-round training, more.
I would say it's a good introduction to fast pitch. We can say that, and the stealing and all that. I think it's a good introduction.
I think that there are 2 flavors, and they're both great programs, and it depends where a family wants to go.
I enjoyed. I can say that, and so
the middle school now I think will open families' eyes quicker that where do all those other 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th graders go, and so they'll be alerted to the other options, and then of course they can make their own decisions.
Yeah, I think all the 6th graders I had last year, they were beating the other 8th grade teams, because I had 2 teams. I had the 6th graders, and then on the 8th graders, I had the 6th graders were beating the groups of 8th graders.
Sure.
They would be like the traveling team because they weren't able to play, but then so
there would be probably 12 and under players in
Yes, and so they were easily handling the 8th grade
recreational players.
Yes, exactly. So that was
well, that shows you the differential just in training and how to swing.
Except out at Oakland, they had the traveling,
Kids.
so it was very comparable, and so but
good stuff.
Yeah, but I think sometimes they wanted to be with their friends too. A lot of
that's a big part of it, and it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It should be.
So
wherever they're comfortable.
Whatever they have. So and you wanted to plug a website perchance here. It sounded like.
Well, Diana's with me. We can let you know how to get in touch with her. She is a
Okay.
healer, and
Okay.
You want more ghost stories, right?
Okay, yeah. At least we
Actually,
see
you
how
tell
to.
the best. You do a fine job on the
Okay.
trolley ride. I love, I love
Okay.
it. You do such a good job.
Yeah, I don't know.
DianaPalm.com.
DianaPalm.com.
Lots
okay.
more there than just haunted house.
Okay, yeah, I know. So yeah, and we love seeing them when I drive by on the trolley. I want to get the owner of the trolley here. So
See, I talked about that great 2018 season,
Mhm.
but I also wanna mention that the next year we ran all the way to the championship game too.
Yeah,
Great team, great accomplishment, fell one game short, 3-2 in the
Mhm.
championship game, so 2 consecutive, opportunities in the state championship game, very proud of those
Yeah.
kids, coaches, all the hard work that.
our
they-
co-host who's not here, we were both
Yes,
down
you
there,
were.
so. Mhm.
He's
Fun
not
stuff.
right next to me.
That's right, we were, yes, that's right, we saw you down there. I think you bought me a bratwurst. There was no quarantine 15.
Yeah.
So-
Freewheeling that in the stands.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So, well, thanks, Coach, for coming
Absolutely.
here,
Thanks
and,
for having me.
wow, we really appreciate you being here, so,
When
and,
we get back playing, I'll come back and visit, let you know how it's going.
alrighty, yeah, so at least we're committed here on with the show until the end of the quarantine.
Stay healthy, hope for the best,
Yeah.
let's get it all
So,
back
yeah,
in,
alrighty.
with some normalcy, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thanks, Miles.
Yo, thanks for coming, so.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Go red.